Hello, my neighbor. Let's talk about who created the natural person. So we're going to have some fun today. We have another hot take. Check out this title. What is secure? All right, so we're just going to get bare bones. We're going to get super simple with this one. So I want to give a shout out to the executive branch for showing us how to use tariff laws to protect the people. So this is the one that set me off right now, is because the timestamp right now is 2025, and then we have an executive branch, and we have what we would call a president, and the president is running the show for the United States of America right now. So we have these rules, and we have these terms, and we have these conditions, and one of them is called tariffs, right? So the president is actually executing the trust, and he's following the law, and he's actually enacting tariffs on entities that want to do trade within our market. And we're finding out right now that there's entities in America that don't like this. They don't like the fact that, when you impose a tariff on someone, that means that you're basically taxing them to allow them to come in and trade in your market or trade in our market, right? So if somebody wants to sell a car from a foreign place, a foreign country, or a foreign entity here in America, then they have to pay a service fee or a membership fee in order for them to get that product in here in America to sell. So then that way, the people who build cars here in America, they can all be on the same level playing field, because in certain parts of the world, it will be what you would call cheaper to make products in other parts of the world because of the terms and the conditions that they have in those governments, right? So in order for us to make a safe market here in America, we charge entry fees in order for them to come into America and do trade with us. And there's entities that don't like this. They really don't like this. So what did they do? They went and then they pulled themselves together, and then they sued our president. They sued our government, and then they say, well, we don't like that you're having tariffs and you're making us pay money to do trade with the American people, right? And then he was like, whatever, dude, right? So they're taking it to the court right now, and it's really fun to watch, but you get to see, who actually cares about the people, right? So if you have an entity that's trying to make sure that the markets are safe for the people here in America, then I would say that entity right there cares more about you than the ones that want to flood the market with cheap goods and cheap services. Okay. So again, I just want to give a shout out to the executive branch for showing us how to use tariff laws to protect the people. Thank you for your service. Thank you for being transparent. And thanks for this jump off bit. Now, let's go ahead and hop off on this hot take, okay? What is secure? All right, so we're going to lay down some terms, and we're going to lay down some conditions, because you and I, my neighbor, we have to agree upon them so we can be on the same page, so we can come to an agreement, okay? Now check out these terms right here and focus on the highlight. Secure. So secure is free from danger of being taken by an enemy. That's what secure is. Secure is safe. That's what secure is. Secure is safe applied to persons. All right. So whenever you see a person, remember, this person is not a man, this person is not a woman, this person is not a child, this person is not a people. This person is my mask, and a mask is a tool that I use to speak through. Okay, it's very different from what a man or a woman is. Remember this, okay, my neighbor? Now, drop down and check out natural. Natural is to be born, natural is to produce, natural. Pertaining to nature. That's what natural is. Natural. Produced or affected by nature or by the laws of growth, formation of motion, impressed on bodies or beings by divine power. All right. So this one flies over a lot of people's heads because they like to use the term nature, and then they like to use the term natural, right? But they don't really know the terms and the conditions and the rules of this realm, right? So creator creates creation. That's all I'm going to say. That's my maxim. Creator creates creation. Who's that? That's Father God. That's Jesus Christ. That's Holy Ghost. What did they create? They created man. They created woman. They created child, and they created the people. And we, the people, we created everything else. Okay. So we, the people, we create. When you drop down, we're going to show you one of the things that some people believe that we create, but we did not create this. My Father, who is God, he created this. Okay. Natural person. All right, so you see how they put two words together, right? Natural and then person. So whenever you join two words or whenever you put two words together like this in a definition, you diminish the power, okay? You diminish the power because a person is a person and natural is natural, right? But when you have a natural person, you're bringing down the power, okay? Check this out. Natural person, a human being. Okay, do you see this, the sleight of hand? This is very sneaky and this is very subtle. Natural person, naturally born. Natural person, naturally born versus a legally generated juridical person. Okay, so right there, that's coming from Black's Law Dictionary, 2nd edition. And this is why we say sometimes attorneys or sometimes lawyers, people learned in law, they're very sneaky and they're very subtle with the terms and then the conditions that they use. So they like to create new terms and conditions by joining words together. That's fine. That's fair. You could do that. Them the rules to the game. But this is why we always like separating words and we do one word, one meaning, one word, one meaning, because once you understand what one word is and what the meaning is, then you're going to have more power over that word because then you're going to be able to know how to use it and know how to move it, okay? But whenever you have like two words joined together, then you're creating a new creature, a new entity. And that's what happened right here with a law dictionary where they go natural person. It's a human being. And we're like, well, wait. A human being, what's that? That's another two-word word, human, for color, right? Hue is color, man, okay? Color man, right? So they're always throwing terms and conditions together like this, and it's cool. It's kind of fun actually because I look at it as a game. So once you break up the words, then you're going to have power over the words. And then you can see how they join the words. And you can say, I don't think that that's what we're really talking about, sir. We're talking about something completely different. So let's go ahead and be on the same page. This is why we always lay down the terms and the conditions. Now, drop down and check out this order. So this order bit right here, this is coming from, I'm pulling this provision from our Constitution right now because, you know, we have a lot of people who don't know the law. And it's really sad because, you know, we see people getting turned out and tricked out by entities that are supposed to enforce the law, right? And we don't like this, okay? Now check out this bit and focus on the highlight. It says, the right of the people to be secure in their persons. Do you see that right there? I'm gonna pause on this one. The right of the people, that is me, I'm one of the people, to be secure in their persons. Excuse me, morning time. Had to burp. Okay, so rewind. It says the right of the people to be secure in their persons. All right, so those are two separate things. So the people is one thing, and then the people's person is another thing. So I can have all sorts of persons because a person is a tool that I create and I can speak through. All right, but this is telling you right here because what people tend to do is that people tend to join their person to their people. Right? That's what they do, right? You know, so a lot of people believe that they are the person, and I'm just here to tell you, you're not, okay? You know, you could be your natural person, which just means that you're a human being who was naturally born, right? But then there's also juridical persons, which means that they were generated on paper, right? You know, so like a corporation or a business will be a juridical person, right? Like the United States of America is what we would call, it has the abilities of a person. The state of California has the abilities of a person, okay? Once you understand the terms and the conditions, then you're going to bring down your stress level a whole lot, okay, my neighbor? All right, let's go ahead and hop on this order again. Here we go. It says the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable seizures and searches may not be violated. What does that mean? That means that you should be safe in your person, right? So whenever you're moving around about town in your person, you know, like if you have a little driver's license, you know, then that driver's license, that's your person, okay? You know, that's your person that you're using. That's the ID that they can identify your person with. And when they say, well, let me see your ID, and you're like, oh, you want to look at my person? Okay, so you can show people your person. So forms of IDs are persons, and that just gives our law enforcers or anybody else who's wandering around in the United States of America or in the state of California or whatever other state you're in, that just shows us that shows them that you're a member of the club. That's what the little ID cards are. They just show you that your person is a member of the club. All right. And you're safe. You should be safe. That's why we showed you what secure is. Safe, right? So when you're driving around in your vehicle to and fro, you should be safe in your vehicle. And when they pull you over, they better have some evidence as to why they're stopping you. You know, they better have some evidence, and you better ask to see it. Okay, that's what you're supposed to do. Just like when they come and they knock on your door and then they want to ask you questions at your door, you better see why they're knocking at your door and asking you questions. All right, so this is a very powerful order or provision from our Constitution, because it says that you're secure, which means you're free, you're safe from danger, right? But a lot of people don't know how to execute this provision right here, and this is why they have their property taken from them, because they don't know the terms and they don't know the conditions. And we know that this is happening all over right now, because we see, like, that's why we're thanking the executive branch right now for showing us how the tariff law works, because they're showing us how the entity called the United States of America can generate revenue by allowing other businesses to come into America and provide goods and services for the people for a fee, right? You know, so then it puts the American businesses or the state businesses on the level playing field. And if they want to compete with our producers, then they can compete with our producers at a fair level, right? And we like this, and we think that this is cool. So then that way, the people's persons in America can be safe and secure from being flooded by cheap goods and cheap services, right? This is what we call economic warfare, and it's happening all over the place. We also see this type of thing happening with homeowners associations too, because the homeowners associations are just little mini governments that the homeowners don't know how to administer. And that's why homeowners associations are running wild on the homeowners, right? We see the same game going all the way down, you know, just from little governments to big governments, right? This is why we always try to show you the terms and the conditions, okay? So remember that order, put that in your back pocket, never move from that position, and you will bring down your stress levels a whole lot. Your person is secure, but you are not your person. Remember this, and we're going to be cool. Now drop down and check out my job description. This is my great commission. This is what I was commissioned to do. I was commissioned by Jesus Christ to get out here and teach all nations. All nations are all people. So one man is a people, one woman is a people. When you put them together, you got the United States, right? So I was commissioned to teach the United States how to be the people, okay? Who taught me this? Jesus. Now check out this bit right here. This is one of my maxims. This is one of my building blocks coming from my rule book, the Holy Bible, King James Version. That's what's up. That's my trust document. That's my trust agreement. That's my constitution that my Father, who was God, left for us to administer. Now check out this bit right here. I'm going to show you where man comes from. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Do you see that right there? Right. So it says God formed man, right? God formed man. And then when you jump all the way back up and you look at natural are bodies or beings formation of motion, formation impressed on bodies or beings by divine power. So God is the divine power. Father is the creator of this whole realm, and he formed man from the dust of the ground. So all men and all women are formed from the dust of the ground. That's why you're going to go back to the dust. And this flies over a lot of people's heads because they don't believe this, you know, and that's fine. That's fair. You can believe what you want to believe. If you want to believe in evolution, you can believe in evolution. If you want to believe in the flying spaghetti monster, you can believe in the flying spaghetti monster. But just know, creator creates creation. So whoever created you, that's your master. Okay, so a lot of you, your mommy and your daddy, that's your master because they created you. You know, my Father is God, so he's my master because he created me. I just have a bunch of brothers and sisters out here wandering around in the realm right now who may not know who they are and what they are. And I like to show you guys. And this is what my commission is because I'm a teacher. Okay? All right. So we're done with that bit. I just wanted to show you the quick bit of where man comes from. Man comes from the dust, and man's body is going to go back to the dust. Okay? But your spirit, your soul, that's going to go back to the creator, and then you will be judged. You just know that you will be judged when the lights go out. And then this, to me, is a fun game. To other people, it's a very scary game because they just don't know what's going to happen. But I got faith, and I walk by faith and faith alone. Thank you, Jesus. All right, let's go ahead and walk it back up now. So I just wanted to show you that provision from the Constitution that says the right of the people to be secure in their persons may not be violated. So no law enforcer can violate my person's right. Okay, they can't just kick down my door and say, I'm taking your property. I'm like, I don't think so, sir. You better show me the affidavit that says that you can do what you can do. All right, and if you can't do that, then I'm coming after you. All right, let's walk it back up. And then I wanted to show you what a natural person is, right? Because that's what the lawyers like to use when they talk about the people's person. They call them natural persons, right? And then I wanted to show you what natural is, and then I wanted to show you what secure is. So if you understand those terms and those conditions right there, I guarantee you will bring down your stress levels a whole lot, because you're going to know what is secure. All right, so you're going to know how to keep yourself safe in the secular realm once you understand how to administer the terms and the conditions as written. And also, you're going to know how to keep yourself safe in the spiritual realm once you understand the terms and the conditions as written in that one too, which is coming from the Holy Bible, King James Version. That's what's up. All right, I'm a Christian, so I'm always going to show you where my proof comes from. Okay, so we're done with that bit. Let's hop on our next slide. Conclusion. All right, this is my closeout game, and I love it. Trust God. So I'm going to say this from now on until my Father taps me out. Trust God. Put your trust in God. Put your property in God's trust. And then all you have to do is learn how to dress and keep it. And I guarantee you will bring down your stress levels a whole lot, okay? Because you will be operating in a whole different jurisdiction. You will be operating under my Father's jurisdiction. You will be operating under God's jurisdiction. And God has control over everything. Once you understand the terms and the conditions, I guarantee stress levels are going to come down. Okay, my neighbor? That's a gift that we're just throwing out there for you. All right. Learn how to trust and learn how to put your property in trust under God. Okay. Under God. That's what we did in America, because that's why it says it on the currency. You know, it's everything we do is under God. All right. Here we go. We're done with that bit. Let's walk it back up. So I just wanted to give a shout out to the executive branch for showing us how to use tariff laws to protect the people. All right. So just think about tariffs. Tariffs are just membership fees in order for you to do trade in our market. That's all it is. It's just access fees for you to get into our market so you can make money, right? But then you don't get to gut our market, because you can bring in cheaper goods and cheaper services from wherever it is that you come in or you come from. All right. So we got people here that provide goods and services for the people that live here too, and we need to make sure that the markets are fair, right? We don't want to create the Rust Belts anymore, right? We do not want to do this anymore. So that's why we're very happy and we're very excited that we have an executive entity that knows how to execute the trust. Thank you for your service, and thank you for showing us how to play the game. And then I wanted to give that hot take on what is secure. Now you know what secure is. Now you better keep it safe. And then I wanted to show you who created the natural person. All right. So the natural person is a creature that was created by lawyers and attorneys, right? But when you break down the terms and the conditions, the natural person is the human being. The human being is what we call the man or the woman. So the man or the woman was created by God. Okay. So who created the natural person? God creates everything, right? God creates everything. It's just man likes to confuse things by joining words together, right? This is why we like to separate the terms and separate the conditions and show you the words in simplicity. All right. So just understand that the people have control over their natural person. Okay. If you understand that, you're going to be cool. And then you're going to understand how to run jurisdiction over your natural person, because your natural person can run jurisdiction over juridical persons or legislative created persons or business entities. All right. So the natural person has more power over all the other persons. Remember this, and we're going to be cool. So we're done. Thank you. I'll see you in the future. By God with love. And remember, nobody's having more fun than us. Bye.